Welcome to the Explainer. Usually we'd start off with a strict agenda, mapping out every little thing we're going to cover, but today, we're bypassing that completely. We're just jumping straight into the deep end, because today's topic is honestly way too visually stunning to wait around for. We're looking at a creature that completely defies the standard rules of the wild, the albino corn snake. If you've ever been fascinated by how genetics can literally alter an animal's entire destiny, you are absolutely going to love this.
Okay, let's dive into this. Notice the stark contrast we've got going on here. When most of us think of a snake, we picture what's over on the left, right? Something dark, heavily camouflaged, stealthy, blending perfectly into the damp forest floor. We're pretty much conditioned to think of snakes as these invisible ninjas of the brush. But then, look at the right side. The albino corn snake just shatters that preconceived notion entirely. Instead of blending in, it's rocking these bright neon colors and striking ruby-red eyes. It's a highly sought-after reality that flips our whole understanding of reptilian camouflage right on its head.
Section 1. The Science of Amelanism.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the actual science. To really appreciate what we're looking at, we need to translate a fairly complex scientific term into a simple concept. The albino corn snake is actually more accurately known as an amelanistic corn snake. Amelanistic simply means a total lack of melanin. And melanin? Well, that's the dark black and brown pigment you'd normally find in wild corn snakes. So if you think of their genetics kind of like a color ink printer, these specific snakes simply cannot produce any black or brown ink on their skin. That dark cartridge is literally empty, and it changes absolutely everything about how they look.
And because they're missing those dark earth tones, just picture the magical color palette that completely takes over. We get these bright, fiery oranges, glowing reds, and super vivid yellows. You'll even see these crisp, white borders mapping out the edges of their scales. It's incredible. And since there's absolutely no dark pigment anywhere in their bodies, even their eyes lack it. That's what gives their eyes that translucent ruby red or pinkish glow. It's honestly a stunning visual. When you entirely strip away the dull earth tones, the neon underneath gets to shine completely uninhibited.
Section 2. A dangerous genetic curse.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really fascinating paradox. Sure, it's a breathtaking mutation, but out in the wild, survival depends on staying unseen. Corn snakes are native to environments where they rely heavily on dark patterns to blend into the shadows, the brush, the dirt. When you strip away that camouflage, you get a bright neon orange snake that effectively broadcasts its location to absolutely everything around it. It stands out like a glowing neon sign. Because of this extreme visibility, it's actually exceptionally rare to ever find a fully grown albino corn snake in the wild. They simply don't have the natural cover they need to make it to adulthood.
So who exactly is looking for them? Well, we've got threats from all angles. From above, you have sharp-eyed hawks endlessly scanning the fields. And from below, you've got foxes and hungry raccoons. To these natural predators, an amelanistic corn snake is practically glowing against the green and brown forest floor. Because they can't effectively hide from the sky or the ground, they become incredibly easy targets. It's kind of a tragic downside to such beautiful genetics.
Section 3. Docile pets and expert hunters.
So if they can't survive out there in the wild, human captivity actually steps in and turns what was a deadly genetic curse into a thriving blessing. Clocking in at just 3 to 5 feet when fully grown, their manageable size makes them absolutely perfect, non-threatening companions. We aren't talking about massive constrictors that need huge room-sized enclosures here. Plus, in captivity, these snakes are famous for being incredibly gentle. They rarely show any signs of aggression, and they quickly get super comfortable with human handling. Because they thrive so beautifully indoors, they've really become the absolute darlings of the pet trade.
Now you might be wondering, why exactly are they called corn snakes to begin with? Well, they actually get their common name from their historic hunting grounds. Wild populations were frequently found hanging out near farmers' corn silos. And hey, even though they're docile with us humans, they're still highly effective hunters. They do a fantastic job of tracking down mice and rats. They're most active during the day in those twilight hours, using a remarkably keen sense of smell to explore their surroundings. So, historically, they provided an amazing natural form of pest control.
Section 4. Special Care and Habitat Needs. Let's move to and see how this builds into the specific requirements needed to keep these docile pets happy and healthy. While they are famously easygoing, the crucial point is that their complete lack of protective pigment really demands specific, tailored care. First up, they are highly sensitive to harsh lights, simply because their eyes lack that dark melanin shield we talked about. Second, they require a very secure habitat with plenty of hiding spots. Even when they're perfectly safe in a tent, their instincts tell them they need to retreat into the darkness whenever they want to feel secure. And finally, they are completely reliant on external heat to survive and actually digest their meals properly. A warm, perfectly regulated environment is absolutely essential for their biology to function.
Section 5. A vibrant work of art.
All of this really comes together to form our final takeaway. We've seen how a simple genetic quirk completely transformed a stealthy wild hunter into this brilliant living masterpiece. This snake is honestly the perfect ambassador for the reptile world. It actively helps break down those deep-seated phobias people so often have about snakes, proving just how gentle, fascinating, and remarkably beautiful these creatures can actually be. Which leaves us with a final question. Would you ever consider keeping one of these neon, red-eyed beauties as a pet? Now that you understand the fascinating science behind their amelanistic color, the immense dangers they face out in the wild, and just how manageable and docile they are in captivity, has your perspective shifted at all? Think about it. I really hope this deep dive gave you a whole new appreciation for these incredible animals. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating details of the world around you.